to AC 24/7. I'm Aaron Dean. A judge found former Minneapolis police officer Tu Tao guilty of an additional charge following the killing of George Floyd in 2020. Tao kept back bystanders while Derek Chauvin pressed his knee into Floyd's neck. According to court documents filed this Monday, the new conviction is for aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. Tao is already serving a 3.5-year sentence for violating Floyd's civil rights. The latest verdict comes from a Hennepin County judge because Tao waived his right to a jury trial for the additional charge. This latest case is set to conclude a series of state and federal trials. His sentencing hearing for the extra conviction is scheduled for August. A new federal bill aims to keep young kids off social media. Lawmakers are looking to address what mental health advocates and critics of tech platforms say is a mental health crisis fueled by social media. The Advocate Channel's Ivan Rodriguez explains what's in this bill and why some tech accountability advocates say it falls short.
The bill would establish a national minimum age for social media use and require tech companies to get parents' consent before creating accounts for teens. All of this reflects a growing trend at all levels of government to restrict how different platforms engage with young users. A bipartisan group of senators unveiling legislation this week that would establish 13 as the national minimum age for social media use and create strict standards for verifying a user's age.
Making young people feel the very ways that we as parents and as a society don't want them to feel is built into the business model.
The proposed bill also requires parental consent for users aged 13 to 17 and bans tech platforms from using teens' personal information to target them with content or advertising.
Social media companies have a duty to help keep kids safe and parents informed, or face serious consequences.
Lawmakers say the legislation is in line with guidance from the U.S. Surgeon General.
The skewed and often distorted environment of social media often does a disservice to many of those children.
Senator Richard Blumenthal is working on a separate bill to address the problem and says he has concerns about this version. Tech accountability advocates agree the bill is focused on the wrong issue.
This bill doesn't actually put any responsibility onto the tech companies. Instead, it's putting more responsibility onto parents and young people to kind of self-police.
Nicole Gill with the nonprofit Accountable Tech argues law should incentivize tech companies to redesign their platforms to protect mental health and privacy.
We have an opportunity right now to rethink the way that these platforms work for young people, and we should take it.
Senator Brian Schott says the bill has not yet been presented to social media companies for feedback, but predicted that in short order, the industry will be deploying, quote, an army of lobbyists to fight it. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
The U.S. Surgeon General is addressing the epidemic of loneliness and isolation in the country with a framework for a national strategy to advance social connection. Dr. Vivek Murthy says that even before the COVID-19 pandemic, about half of adults reported experiencing loneliness. Isolation and loneliness are linked to sleeping problems, inflammation, immune changes, pain, depression, and anxiety. But Murthy says social connection can help make us more resilient. His framework includes 6 pillars like calling for pro-connection public policies, increasing education on the benefits of social connection, and reforming digital environments. The man who has been called the godfather of artificial intelligence is speaking out on the dangers of the technology that he helped develop. Geoffrey Hinton confirmed Monday that he has left his role at Google. His work on neural networks shaped AI systems that power many of today's products. Hinton told the New York Times that he left Google so that he could speak freely about the risks of AI, but says, quote, Google has acted very responsibly. Hinton's decision to step back from the company comes amid growing concerns about AI's potential for spreading misinformation and displacing jobs. He said that he's concerned about both of those risks, saying that AI could and create a world where many will not be able to know what is true anymore. The global workforce will be hit with a massive disruption over the next 5 years, and partially because of AI. That's according to a report from the World Economic Forum released this week. The WEF says that a weakening economy and the adaptation of technologies are the cause of the coming disruptions. They say employers will create 69 million new jobs by 2027, but they'll also eliminate 83 million positions. That's about 2% of the current jobs. Researchers found that using artificial intelligence like ChatGPT will have positive and negative effects. Companies will need new workers to help implement and manage AI tools, but using AI will put many roles at risk. The conflict in Sudan is stretching into its third week despite the two sides agreeing to extend their ceasefire. People in Sudan say that they continue to hear explosions. Meanwhile, there are more efforts by foreign officials to get their citizens out of the region. Thousands, including 100 Americans, have been evacuated to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The Advocate Channel's Larry Madowo has more.
This is where the journey from Port Sudan to Jeddah ends, at the Jeddah Islamic Port, where people are received by staff from the U.S. Embassy here, the U.S. Consulate in Jeddah. The head of the consulate here, Faris Assad, has been personally here speaking to the people, carrying luggage across from the ship, and then the process over there, getting the documents looked at, and then they go over across to the other side to clear customs, have their passports stamped, and then they're into Saudi territory. Many of the people we've been speaking to tell us they are grateful to the Saudis for helping organize this, because before there was this U.S. naval ship Brunswick coming across the Red Sea, many of them came on Saudi Royal Navy ships, and they were just grateful to be away from an active war zone. Many of them had kids, families, elderly people, those who were sick, some who were stretched out of the ships, and it's such a relief for them to be away from that. But also a sense of survivor's guilt, that they are lucky to get out because they have second passports. For many others, they don't have the same privilege, and it tore at them. So many heartbreaking stories, people in tears at being able to leave when so many family members, even those who are sick or elderly, are stuck in Sudan as this fighting just drags on. And this Port of Jeddah has become the main extraction point for so many people fleeing the fighting in Sudan. Larry Madowo, CNN, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae backed mortgages are about to get cheaper for some people, but more expensive for others. Changes the Federal Housing Finance Agency made to mortgage fees will take effect this month. With the changes, borrowers with lower credit scores will see less of a penalty. Now, if your credit score is higher, you will see some more price tiers and in some cases, increased fees. Homebuyers with lower credit scores will still pay more to obtain a Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac backed mortgage than those with higher credit scores. Fannie and Freddie guarantee roughly half of the country's mortgages. Writers in Hollywood are stepping away from the computer screens and getting ready to go walk the picket lines. More than 11,000 members of the Writers Guild of America are set to go on strike Tuesday for the first time since 2007. The union officially called for a strike after it failed to reach an agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers today. Writers have been trying to reach a new contract with studios as the industry shifts more into streaming. The strike means production of many television shows could come to a halt immediately, while the start of the new season of other shows may be delayed later this year. And thank you for joining us for AC 24/7. For more, go to theadvocatechannel.com, subscribe to the Advocate Channel YouTube page. For AC 24/7, I'm Aaron Dean.